Hello and welcome to the month of Copilot, June 2024. So this is a month of sessions covering the whole spectrum of Copilot, all curated by the great people over at the Copilot Connection. So today's talk, I'm joined by Pete Vasey, and we are going to be talking all about how Copilot can enhance your work and not replace you. So my name's Jack Fisher. My LinkedIn URL is there on the screen. I also write a blog at modern-work.uk. I'm an M365 solutions architect with a focus on all things AI and automation. I've got a love of all things Copilot, Microsoft Viva, the employee experience, and M365 in general. So over to you, Pete.
Thanks very much. Yes, I am slightly more long in the tooth, as I keep saying about this. I'm 25 years in. My work has been predominantly focused on Microsoft during that time. So I go back to the days of 351 and Exchange 4. And again, I have a real passion of everything around AI and automation. I think it's a fantastically exciting time to be around. But again, my details are on there. If you want to, you can get in touch. So I think we need to explain this this slide.
It's
be careful what you ask for. We used Copilot, and we will come back to this slide later on, to create an image of headcount versus reduction. Headcount reduction versus productivity, and this wasn't really what we were intending, but we decided we liked it, so we're keeping it in. So when we're looking at AI and automation, quite often what we see is an expectation from the business that by introducing AI, they're going to be able to remove headcount from the business. The other way to look at it really is about getting your FTEs to do more whilst they are at work. So it's about productivity increases versus being able to remove the headcount. One thing you have to be aware of, though, is that during the business case creation is if you end up with leading somebody down the productivity route, there is a saving in effort and time, which is a financial thing at the end of the day, but your costs are still going to go up because you're taking on an additional license for this tooling. So you do need to look at the business case and the cost justification very carefully. The way you want to treat it will depend on the sector you're in. If you're going through a growth spurt, and you have big plans for growth, then actually what you'll really probably be looking at is, do I actually need to take on more people to fulfill this growth, or can I actually automate things and use the AI to deliver that same return for me? So be careful what you're looking at as far as getting rid of FTEs versus being productive. The next bit that we wanted to talk about was the basic time saving, which is out of the box functionality. So Copilot for M365, huge success. Some people have really got to grips with it and write very, very complicated prompts, and we'll come on to that next. But actually, even if you are not using the advanced features of it, there are certain areas which you need virtually no skill or education to be able to work out. So the first one is meetings. When you're in meetings, you turn on Copilot, right? Copilot will sit there, it will transcribe the meeting for you, it will create minutes, it will create action lists for you. It also gives you some really good prompts, like you can turn and say, well, what questions are unanswered? And it will tell you what questions are unanswered. It can make you look really, really smart and intelligent by saying, well, actually, what question should I ask next on relation to topic A? Well, why don't you ask this? So it can really help your ability to track how the meeting's going. We know that there is a Teams Copilot coming, or Team Copilot coming, which is actually going to embed itself into the meeting that you're in order to try and keep it on time, on track, and that kind of thing. So that's really exciting. You've got the ability to create content. This is, I think, an underrated thing. we've all sat and looked at blank pages before and thought, right, okay, I need to start this document. How do I do this? You can either say, here's a template, copy that, and make it into subject matter ABC, or you can just say, create me a business justification for deploying Power Plat, whatever it may be. And it won't necessarily complete that business case for you, but it will give you a very solid place to start. And of course, this is an iterative process. So if you don't get what you want the first time, ask it to amend it. Don't just think, that's not right. It's not what I asked you for. You do need to say, okay, well, that bit's great, but can you expand on this bit? Or I need more detail on so and so, or it needs to be X amount of pages long. So the document creation, that's PowerPoint, Excel, Word, whatever it is. There's lots of stuff it can really sort of kickstart for you. And then there's the summarization and review. And where you're summarizing and reviewing content, that flips from being in an email chain that you've just been added to, summarize it for me. Okay, fine, it's good. It gives you really nice bullets. I've asked it to summarize a 187-page document, and I got a page and a half back, and it was pretty much bang on the money. So you can use it to review things, but as you get more comfortable with the use of it, you can then set it to work on legal documents or medical documents or go-to-market material, whatever it may be, and your confidence level will build as you get more and more used to the way that Copilot works. So those don't need an awful lot of training, and there are prompts over on the internet everywhere for you to go and plagiarize. But just those areas alone, you will recoup your license fee each month without question.
Yeah, definitely. And people kind of pick those bits up relatively easily, don't they? But we've got some stuff later on the sort of how to craft prompts and stuff. So that does need a bit of training, a bit of time investment from people. But generally, a lot of this functionality is out of the box, and it even gives you like boxes to click to do some of these prompts for you, doesn't it? So it's a really easy win. And like you said, you've recouped your license costs there.
Yeah.
So then we want to look at how, that was the out of the box functionality and some basic time saving stuff, but really how can we get a bit more advanced? So advanced time saving with custom copilots, etc. So this is just one example that we've mocked up on the screen of how you could use a custom copilot to not only look at and retrieve information from your M365 tenant, but actually start looking and hooking this into other data sources. So imagine you're a legal firm, for example, with a great deal of really important information contained within a case management system, or you're a logistics company with an ERP system, or a company that has lots of salespeople or an IT service desk, and they use different CRM systems, ticketing systems. And really, you don't want Copilot to just be able to retrieve information from your 365 tenant. So when you extend Copilot into these external data sources, this is when you can really start to see the magic happen. So what we've got on the screen there is a retrieval of augmented generation. So it's often used in the context of conversational agents, and a question and answer system, and other applications involving natural language and understanding and generation. So the retrieval system is used to go and fetch the relevant information from a knowledge base. So that's where, it can look at your M365 tenant, your SharePoint, your Teams data, but also into your ERP systems, your HR systems, CRMs, also looking at online data sources, and then it can push that through the large language model once the information is retrieved to produce more sort of contextually appropriate and fluent responses as well. So this combination can potentially result in responses that are both factually accurate and linguistically sophisticated. So you're kind of putting Copilot on steroids really by doing that, and it's you can really gain a lot of great stuff from doing that.
Other performance enhancing drugs are available. I think on that, one of the things that you touched on was having this single AI assist, and that is important. I think a lot of businesses will look at this department by department and go, oh, we'll have one for HR, we'll have one for legal, we'll have one for this. No, just have one.
Yeah.
That's where my use base goes to ask questions. Let the AI determine where it's pulling the information from and what information it needs to present back. But yeah, don't fall into the trap of going, oh well, yeah, we'll create one for our team because that's what we do. Look at it in a much more holistic view.
Yeah, definitely, because it might be relevant data, because you don't want one looking at a certain set of data and another looking at another one. You want to gain all of the information that you can from this and present it back to people through a single interface as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we talked about this earlier, and we showed that funny picture at the start, and we'll show you the example of how we got to that. But there's definitely an art and a science of prompting, and it's important that I think that people put in a bit of time investment to get this piece right, and also to stop them reverting back to their old ways of working. So people might pick up Copilot, ask it something, like you said before, it doesn't quite give you the thing that you wanted or the response that you wanted, so actually they go back to the manual way of doing it. And look, it doesn't always get it right, and there are things that it can't do, but quite a lot of the time you might just need to refine the way that you prompt it, and the thing that you're asking it, and there's definitely a bit of a skill to that. So we've got some stuff up on here which is really useful, I think. So tell Copilot what you need. So there's loads of different types of prompts that you can use depending on what task you want done. So some examples here are learn. So you could learn about projects and concepts. So what is project X? Who are the key stakeholders working on it? And that will go off and find that information for you. You can edit text. So check this product launch rationale for inconsistencies. You can transform documents. So transform this FAQ document into a 10-slide onboarding guide. I use that all the time, taking a Word document and translating it into a PowerPoint, and kind of vice versa as well. A really, really useful thing. And it goes off and will create that. You can tell it how many slides you want on in the presentation. It fires it up. Again, you need to go and tweak it a bit and maybe add and remove some images, but it's a really great starting point for that. Summarize information. So write a session abstract of this presentation and then point it at the presentation that you're talking about. Create engaging content. So create a value proposition for product X, and it will know what product X is by looking through the information in your tenant, and then catch up on missed items. So provide a summary of the updates and action items on project X. Then on the right hand side of this slide, we've got including the right prompt ingredients. So this is it's known throughout. Lots of people have got a version of this slide, but it's the GCSE framework basically. So for those of us who went through high school in England, and depending on how old you are, well, you will have done GCSEs. But basically, I was going to say, Pete, I'm not sure you did. Yeah,
I was first year GCSE. Yeah.
Oh wait, okay. But yeah, so to get the best response, it's important to focus on some of the key elements below in this right hand side of the thing here when you're phrasing your Copilot prompts. So first of all, always give it a goal. So what response do you want from Copilot? Give it a context. So why do you need it and who is involved? Give it a source. So which information sources or samples should Copilot use? And then give it the expectations as well. So how should Copilot respond to best meet your expectations? So as you can see in the example here, it's generate 3 to 5 bullet points. So that's the goal. That's what you want to get out of it. And then the context is to prepare me for a meeting with client X to discuss their phase 3+ brand campaign. So the context is there. Your source is focus on email and Teams chats since June. And then your expectations are please use simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. And if you keep that framework for almost every prompt that you do, the information that Copilot gives you back just becomes so much richer. So again, on the left where we talked about catch up on missed items, I use this whenever I come back from holiday actually, and it's so useful. But I don't just ask it to provide a summary of update and action items. I ask it to go and look at my Teams messages, my emails, channel messages, spit them out into a table, and you can tell Copilot the columns in rows that you want in the table. and then bold items that I've been mentioned in or that are specific to me. So you can get kind of clever with some of these prompts, and then actually you've got a really nice table of everything that you need to do rather than a block of text that you still need to read through. So there's lots of ways to refine these prompts and make them more powerful for you, really.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to remember is, and it comes back to the how comfortable you are with this and how confident you are with it, is that the onus is still on you as an individual for the accuracy of what's coming back.
Yeah.
And so if you're relying on the app mentions, that's actually quite a solid one because it's a finite thing.
Yeah.
If it's creating content for you, you need to be much more vigilant to say, yes, actually that content is correct. And I think the one application that catches people out because it's slightly different is Copilot within Excel. And a simple sort of use case from my side, sitting there say, okay, cool, I can get to grips with Copilot for Excel. Create me a table that's going to look like this. It's going to be used for collecting data on so. And you lay it all out, and it goes, bing, done it. Fantastic. And then you start looking at it, and it's using formulas I've never used in my life because I'm not an Excel guru.
Yeah.
So how do I validate that sort of content? So I think there are areas where Copilot is way better. I think the Excel one will get there, but it's a little bit. I think it goes too clever, too quick for me. But we do need to sort of watch this. Make sure you are asking the right thing and be specific. I think one of the first things that I created from image-wise was a replica of the positive possum.
Yeah.
But it said, hey, go and have a look at the positive possum. I want to use a cartoon version of it with no background, all this sort of stuff. And it went away and it did it. And my word, it came back with something really quite scary. It was like a rabid rodent, really, wasn't it? I mean, you remember it. But, so you do need to be careful what you ask for, which kind of actually segues quite nicely into
it does indeed, doesn't it, Pete?
That it says it kind of is suitable for work, but it's really not suitable for work image.
Yeah. So like Pete said, it doesn't always get it right. So when we were doing this presentation, the first slide was about that headcount reduction versus productivity, and we were throwing some ideas around. And first of all, we were like, let's get Alan Sugar to do the "you're fired," and then we thought, well, actually, let's ask Copilot to create us an image of someone firing someone. So this was the prompt. So it was create me an image of a person being fired by their boss, but in the background, the boss is showing love to their new AI bot. And then we said, actually, make the boss look more cross, because the first image we got wasn't it? The boss looked really happy, and there was some other guy behind them clapping
in the background
because they were firing someone. We were like, that's not quite right. So he said, make the boss look more cross, looking at the person being fired, or more sad. And then we got a funny icon in the background where the love heart is, didn't we? And it was, so we said change the love heart from having a cross face to a smiley face. But anyway, this is the image that we ended up with of an AI bot swearing at someone getting fired, and they're crying. So yeah, you've got to refine your prompts and get them right, really, to get the content that you want.
Yeah. However, I think this is going to get used an awful lot, this image.
Yeah.
It's a definite icebreaker for clients, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Okay, so with that, that's the end of the presentation. So thanks very much for listening. And thanks again to the guys over at the Copilot Connection, which is a podcast about generative AI in the workplace. You can see their URL there for their website, their LinkedIn contact, and then their YouTube channel. They put out loads of videos pretty much every week, I think, about Copilot and AI in the workplace. So yeah, give them a follow, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, take care. Enjoy.